So I think I look for brands that align with me without having to change my personality and who I am.
Right.
So brands that can actually, when I get them, it's not even about the money, it's about the relationship building.
Because you don't have to say yes to everything, and even though you want to build relationships, you still have to be careful.
Exactly, all the time.
And it goes back to research.
Let's integrate what the people are doing than to say take the brief and then, because what they do is that they have one brief for everyone.
For everyone.
However, that brief can't be salt and butter for everyone.
For sure. Welcome back. Welcome back to Creator Conversation. It's your girl, Miss Rose, the influencer sister. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for all the love that you have been showing to the podcast. Thank you for following on TikTok and on Instagram. Thank you for subscribing. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Don't forget to share the videos on YouTube and like the videos. At the end of this, I'm actually going to announce a giveaway because subscribers, young, but come to the front. Again, thank you. It's been amazing. My guest today, last week I had another expert. I have another expert, but who also actually doubles as a content creator. I don't like to introduce people. What up, sir?
Woo! I've made it in love.
No, trust me, it's me that has made it. The fact that you can call the Bongani Baloyi and he can say, yes, I will drive there where you are and I will come. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy.
Honor.
I'm so happy you're
You don't
here.
know. I've made it.
I'm so happy that you're here.
No, thank you so much.
Should we get into it?
Yes, please.
Ne?
Yes.
Because like lots of this. So we better off just getting to it. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your role in the creator economy.
Oof, I love that. I think for me, the role in the creator economy is that I'm the bridge between the agencies, the creators themselves, and also just a little bit of brands into it. So I'm sort of like a center, but also a safe space for creators.
Yeah.
So what I do most of the time is that I create events so that the creators can find themselves in the space. They can find a little bit of freedom. You know, sometimes you go to events for work, but then what I don't create events for work. I create events where we can actually enjoy ourselves. While at the same time, so it's always games at the beginning. After games, we actually get to talk and talk about our careers, because this is a creator economy at the end of the day. Meaning it's an economy, it needs to thrive. It has pillars that we need to stand on. So when we stand together as creators to say, what are we doing? Where are we going? So we need to have those conversations regularly. So what I do is that I try to maintain that space so that we are able to have a safe space as creators. At the same time, having a safe space for brands to come to us to say, listen, yes, we worked throughout the year, but then let's talk. Let's see what we did wrong. Let's see where we can improve from the agency side, from the brand side, from the creator side. So that's my main role. I
love that. I think it's been such an amazing thing because obviously you started the Creators Hub, right?
Yes.
And it's been such a joy, like, to be part of that whole, to watch it. How does it feel when you see sort of like how creators are interacting in that space?
Yeah, I think it's one of those moments where I feel like crying every time, because I know this is what I need. When I'm standing on both sides, from the creator side and also from the agency side sometimes. So having to see both worlds come together in one space, I think for me, that brings me so much joy. And the fact that there is testimonies after that. It's not something that you just create and then it's another event and gone. Some agencies come back to say, okay, we want this creators and this creators and this creators. Or give us 10 of the influencers who are doing this and this and that. So it becomes a relationship building. And that for me, it becomes one of the greatest joy ever. So I always love that moment of being able to give back to the creators as well.
I love that. And you've spoken about an important thing, which is relationships. A lot of what we do, I mean, we are here because of a relationship. The fact that when we started out, we didn't even know each other. Like, I just knew that, like, because whenever I would book the creators, they know that they would. And then he would always hear my name, Rose, Ufi, the campaign, Ganja, and what. So, and eventually, so it's come full circle. So I'm really, really grateful. Now that we're talking about relationships, because you also double up as a content creator. How do you choose the right brand to work with?
I think for me, I think I come from a background of knowing that the brand that you want to work with, it's a brand that you've always wanted to work with, right? So, for example, I've always wanted to work with VW, right? It's a brand that I've always had in my mind. And it's one of those things that I had positioned myself that, you know what does VW do as a brand? Can I align? Is it the right brand for me? Does it work well with creators? Does it even work with creators? Because there's some brands that you think, it's nice to have, but they don't actually work with creators.
They don't.
They don't even know what it looks like to work with creators. So sometimes it's about looking at what the brand is going for and what I'm going for. So I think I look for brands that align with me without having to change my personality and who I am. So brands that can actually, when I get them, it's not even about the money, it's about the relationship building. So I always look for those brands that I know whatever that we do, we can build together. So if you've got such brands that are always willing to work with you, build you up. You start from the ground down to say, yo, okay, this is your content. This is what we do. How can we find ways? How can we find spaces that we can suit one another so that I don't change the type of content? Now, you see Bongani doing car content that speaks about, oh, this car goes 160 and no, it doesn't have to be that. So it's all about, what are they about? Does it represent where you're going as a person? So that relationship for me, it's always about that alignment.
I love what you've just said, because then it's also teaching creators and reminding us that it's not every bag that you have to say yes to. So what are the red flags then that creators should look out for when they are about to collaborate with a brand?
So I'd say brands that are forever collaborating with everyone who's trending. I think for me, that's a red flag, because they don't go for substance. They go for whatever's trending at that time, meaning that you're not building. Meaning you will see you jumping from one brand to another. And then that makes you a brand. You know what they say. Exactly. So that's what happens most of the time. And I think that is one of the biggest red flags, that when a brand is always working with different people, they're forever changing influencers. The second ones are the ones that are always giving you low rates. You know that once you start, they're not even going to tell you to say, okay, this is low budget. They'll come to you and say, oh no, 1,000 rand for a post. And that's what, take it or leave it. And then if you send your rate card to say, hey guys, yes, that's your budget, but this is my rate card. It's like, oh, we'll choose the next influencer.
And they just move
that
on.
Is a red flag for me. They won't even say, oh no, we'll consider you next time, but are you willing to work with us? And see, so there's those brands that I feel like they're not ready to build. They're always ready just to take whatever comes into their plate.
And it's so important. I've said here before that because you don't have to say yes to everything, and even though you want to build relationships, you still have to be careful.
All the time.
And it goes back to research, right? And it goes back to research and doing your homework and planning and understanding where the industry is at. Before you come and charge me 1 million for a post, understand, is it for the relationship? Is it long-term? And also research the brand as well. That's how you can tell those kind of things. So I think those are very, very important red flags. Now, tell me about a campaign that you worked on that was very, very successful in your eyes and in the eyes of all of us. And why do you think what made it successful?
My personal campaign, or just any campaign?
Kaufela, you can do both.
So for me, I think let me speak about other people, because my own is quite different. So a campaign that was very successful, right? And I think this is a Kit Kat, right? So there is an influencer, Atlahang Songo.
Yes.
And Touch Nigga. Yo, that guy is brilliant. He shoots content kokasi. He's always making sure that he's on brand. When Kit Kat reached out to him, the content didn't change. It integrated to what he was doing. So what I found that always when I'm shooting influencers, right, you'd find that influencers always dancing. You bring a campaign, you want this person to talk. That is a flop for me. So that Kit Kat campaign, the fact that they allowed him to be him and allow him to do the skit, even though the brand messaging, like for other campaigns, it looked like a different one, but he was able to bring it back to Atlehang Songa and Kit Kat, and without even having to compromise his content. The views were amazing.
They were.
And brilliant.
The numbers were numbering.
Yeah, they were numbering. So for me, that was brilliant. And I think the second one is quite brilliant. It was when, it's quite recent, right? It's Grace and Lerato Numalo and the Nivea campaign. They took them to Germany. And in the stories, I was like, wait, I've seen this story on someone else. So they were texting their mom on air that, hey, mom, I'm on air right now. But then I went to Lerato Numa. I'm like, wait, this is a campaign.
Yeah.
So for me to having to see that and like, oh, this is cute.
Yeah.
I didn't think firsthand this is a campaign.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
they're just going for another
It was
brand.
very authentically
Exactly.
done.
So for me, that was successful, and I like that. And
Yeah.
I was like, that's quite cool. Even though we know that they're going for a campaign event, right? But it was like their journey, having to have them to go through
story.
that. That is grace.
Yeah.
That is Lerato Numa.
Yeah.
Like that is that.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like,
Yeah,
brilliant.
they really told a story with that campaign, and to even
Exactly.
take them in to make the products. Chef's kiss.
Exactly.
Nivea, little phone, rating. Yeah, we need you. We love you. No, I think that was a brilliant campaign.
Yeah.
You said something so important that the brand actually, met Atlehang at his content.
Exactly.
How do you think then creators can navigate like feedback from the brand and also like the balance with the creative control?
I think creators at first hand, when they start having conversations with brands, they don't realize that they are the client, right? They don't realize that they've got an opinion as well.
Yeah.
And they won't even say, hey, yes, this is the brief. Am I able to change the brief according to my style
Yeah.
and send the brief? Have it, make it a conversation. So what creators do is that they receive the brief and like, this is what they've given me. So I have to execute
have to
the
do it, yeah.
exact same way. So what I found most of the time, and I think when I was shooting a lot of reels, it's something that I had fun with. I was always saying that, especially for example, with the likes of Coke, I knew who was in the middle person. I would always say, hey, this person is saying they want to do this.
Yeah.
Can I change the brief
Yeah.
and make it suit this content creator? Let's make skit for Nathan.
Yeah.
Let's make dancing videos for Spohle.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So
Yeah.
for me, that made a huge deal to say, let's integrate what the people are doing than to say, take the brief and then, because what they do is that they have one brief for everyone.
For everyone.
However, that brief can't be salt and butter for everyone.
For sure.
People have different tastes. People have different spices that they want to put into their content.
Yeah.
Allow them to do that. And if a brand says no, it's okay.
Yeah.
And I think most of us are afraid of rejection. I remember at some point it became a thing where I was like, if a campaign comes back and then they say, oh no, we reject your video, it feels bad.
It does,
for sure.
yeah.
But if it feels bad, it's okay. You tried. You tried to say, okay, guys, this is what we can do.
Yeah.
Show them so that even next time they can look at that video and say, wait, you did that.
Yeah.
Can we try this?
Yeah.
I think we've got a campaign
Yeah.
now that's suitable for this type of content. So for me, I feel like content creators should be able to go back and then say, hey, this is what we can do.
Yeah.
Man. So, yeah.
You say that though, and I think it's also a good learning opportunity for brands as well.
Yeah.
To try and understand, because if you are helping me with my content and I don't do voiceovers, and now all of a sudden they're asking me to do a voiceover,
How?
I'm gonna feel weird. The audience is gonna feel weird, and it
Exactly.
actually shows in your numbers.
Exactly.
So what you said is so important. It's like, because even though we know that, especially with a platform like TikTok, you trend on the sound, so everybody does the same dance and
Exactly.
everybody does the same. But we don't all have to replicate it. You can
can't dance.
find. I cannot.
And then the campaign comes through and says,
and then they
dance.
say, please dance. It's going to look so weird.
Exactly.
And as your audience, we're going to say, is everything
What's
okay?
going on?
Hello? Is everything
Exactly.
okay? So I think it's an important learning
Yeah.
thing for creators to understand, you have to still be authentically you.
Yeah.
And also for brands to also try to meet the creators,
Exactly.
sort of halfway. But it's also an important thing to learn because brands have certain objectives and they also have, missions and tones that they have to speak in. So that's why sometimes they'll ask you for a little bit more seriousness, even though you don't always do it. With that said, how important is personality versus niche in the content creation space? Because now, just because I love food, but I can't always cook. And my food content won't food content like Mrs. Baloyi's content.
Yay!
Hello, me. We see you. Okay. That content. Yeah. So how important is personality versus niche? And is it super important to you that you can give it as advice that people must have a niche, or can they find a way to kind of mix personality with niche?
I think it's both. Hey, I think it's both. And especially if your niche is very saturated, personality stands out.
Yeah.
So, for example, everyone is doing vlogging. If you're a vlogger, for me, that's personality that attracts me to vlogs.
Yep.
Sometimes you're watching things that don't necessarily you wouldn't do. Like, for example, what I do sometimes is gadget reviews.
Yeah.
I have to make them catchy because there's a lot of people who are doing tech reviews.
Doing that, yeah.
But then your personality, it's a niche content, yes, for sure. But for other people who are not interested, they still have to find a way to be interested in the content without having to do that.
Yep.
You know, for example, there's this lady that I like watching that content, Slim, right? Color Slim. She does makeup. I'm not interested in makeup.
Color me simpy.
Exactly.
Yes, that
But
stuff
I
is
love
hectic.
watching that.
Yeah.
For me, that's personality. So it's not even on the voice. It's about how she does it.
Yep.
It's about how much effort you can see that she did put
That
in
she
effort.
puts into that.
She planned this whole thing. So for me, I enjoy seeing that, and I like that. So personality has to peak out, especially if the niche is saturated.
Yeah. That's so important for you to say that, because now people are not understanding where to kind of draw the line.
Exactly.
And so they try to replicate it. And then when people, well, some people are not kind about things, right? So, but when people give this feedback to say, no, it doesn't make any sense. How do you think people can navigate that negative feedback?
Yeah. Negative feedback, it always hurts.
Yeah.
That's definitely for sure, right? But then I think what people say that when people give you bread, don't eat the plastic, eat the bread inside the plastic, right? So take out the plastic and put it aside and see what the bread has inside. So take out that bread and start eating the bread. So therefore you understand that within that negative connotation or whatever feedback that you're getting, try to get it out, and then start to see what can you improve on, right? And it's always like a good thing to take criticism sometimes. Even if sometimes it might feel like it's bad, but take something out of it and then just leave the plastic out, right? And then leave all the negative things. But there's always bread inside.
So it's where you focus. I really, really love that, because then we always, there'll be like 10 other people that saying this looks good, and everybody will choose to respond to that one negative.
That's one, especially on TikTok.
Oh my!
On TikTok, if it catches just one comment.
I also feel like everybody's just waiting for one person.
Exactly.
I wish you would say something, because everybody's always waiting for that one comment. That's the one they respond to, and they don't focus on the
good
rest
stuff,
of the other ones.
rest of the comments. But also, I think it's a mentality thing that I think as creators we need to develop as well. If you see something that's good, if I see your video, I must start commenting on it. You know, sometimes we comment in our minds like, oh, this is so nice.
This is so nice. And
why don't you type it's so nice? If you see Rose's video, why don't you type, oh, this was very useful.
It's so nice.
Start commenting. This is useful. We need more comment. You'll say, oh, nice. And then a person will bump into you, Rose, and say, oh, Rose, I love the content that you're doing. Like,
you don't even follow me.
You don't even see this. What's proof that you follow me?
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. That's why, like, subscribe to people's channels. Like, you're watching it, you're already enjoying it. It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. So just like it, comment, and it can really, really help with the people. And Elu and I will also actually help you. What people don't know is that the tools also tell us if whether you are an interactive person or you're an engaging person. So now let's talk about how do we think that because of these negative how do you push forward even out of the negativity?
I think it goes back to why are you doing the content in the first place, right? Because you would know what's your objective, what's your mission, what's your vision, right? At the end, you need to come back to those things and then see what's going on, right? And see where are you in the steps. Because sometimes, like for example with me, right? And a lot of people wouldn't classify me as a tech creator. I started putting myself in that position to say, hey, I want to do tech. And the reason why I'm always in tech stores, when I get into a store, I'm always touching a camera, I'm always touching this and that. But I can't afford to buy those things all the time. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to start creating content based on that. I want drones. I can't afford to buy every new drone that comes out.
The one time Kikupa Bongani recommendation, I'm like, hey, vlogger. He's like, oh, here's a recommendation here thing. My balance was saying, where are you going? And my balance just reminded me that if I need that content, I will phone him, because my balance was not aligning. Let's talk about, because you've now spoken about the tech part, because you double up as a content producer. You produce the content for us. You shoot us, you edit for us, and all of that. How do you strike the balance there where it's now, when do you take off the hat of I'm a creator, I'm a content producer? Or that's why?
No, definitely I did one. They're quite different. I think being a fan of creators, that's the first and foremost thing. whenever I look at content, I think the producer head is always on
Yeah.
whenever I'm not working.
Yep.
So when I start working with you, it becomes easier to say, hey, man, if I were to work with Rose to see, oh, okay, Rose is doing content like this and this. This is how I would help her improve the content. So
Yeah.
that is always in my mind, that whenever I reach out to content creators, I don't shoot anyone. Like,
Yeah.
I don't shoot everyone.
Yeah.
I won't say, okay, send a DM to book me. That never happens.
Yeah.
Like, you know, at the beginning, I used to have people saying, hey, man, Bongani only shoots celebrities. I'm like, no, it's not celebrities, guys. It's the stories that I see.
Yeah.
When I have an idea, I'm
Yeah.
not doing it for the money. I'm doing
Yeah.
it because I see the vision in you.
Yeah.
And when it's time for you to flourish,
Yeah.
guys, there's a lot of videographers out there. I can
Yes.
let you fly.
I know.
But the only thing is that I will see a vision that you are, where you're trying to go.
Yeah.
Like, one thing I'm passionate about in the creator economy is that I want to see us having to look back 20 years later to say, this is where the creator economy was. Right now, we're able
Here's
to build
where we are.
houses.
Yeah.
Right now, we're infiltrating the acting space, the
Yeah.
movie spaces,
Yeah.
all those spaces. And that's where we started is TikTok, Instagram,
Yep.
YouTube, all these platforms that people undervalue.
Yeah.
So what I want to see is that creators making it out of the hood, making it out of their homes to say, this is what the house that I built for my family. This is the
Yeah.
house that I built for my parents. This is the house I
Yeah.
built for myself.
Yeah.
So I want to see creators going to those spaces. I want to see them growing. So that's where I feel like we should be going. So me having to come in as a producer, I'm coming in with that mentality that right now you need me.
Yeah.
You need me. Sometimes I infiltrate myself in spaces where I don't have to be the videographer, but I need to tell you,
Yeah.
yo, go into this.
Yeah.
Like, for example, a lot of people are not going to YouTube, but I'm like, why?
Go there.
There's money.
Go there.
Guys, we've made so much money on YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you're not going to
Yeah.
YouTube. Try it. Yes, you've got one view. You never know what happens 10 years later.
Also, but it doesn't start with one view.
Exactly,
I want Tomaka one
exactly.
view. I want Tomaka one
Oh,
subscriber.
guys.
I feel like the problem is now everybody aims for virality a little bit too much.
Exactly.
That's why when the thought of them starting becomes such a hectic thought for them because they're just
Exactly.
like, no, I need 10,000 subscribers by the end of the week.
Yo.
And then they see so-and-so starting a channel and they achieve that. But you
Exactly.
forget that, maybe somebody has different background or they have different tools. But also, Libana, they just started. They
Exactly.
just started. Now, with that said, that's the perfect way into the next question. What do you think is the most underrated opportunity within the influencer marketing space, but also
Yeah.
the creator economy that creators don't take advantage of?
So I think mainly is having them to go into the commercial space, right? So for example, you would see a lot of people wanting to do music.
Yeah.
They want to do, like for example, we're trending, I'm a piano worldwide, right? But they never think about that music that you produce that we might not like your music.
Yeah.
But there is someone out there in America who needs a music library of Amapiano. There is someone out there who needs black people to be shot.
Yeah.
Literally, one of the biggest things that I'm working on right now is that you can't find stock footage of black people. There are so many people who literally do crazy things on Instagram, TikTok. If people were to take that and go into the commercial space, just put it out there.
Yeah.
Your music doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes I'm looking for a sound literally of scratching.
Yes.
Yeah, one. You
Yeah.
can't find that.
Yeah.
Yeah, one. So it's those little things that people don't see the value in.
Yeah.
You always want to be in the limelight. You always want to be famous. You always want to be known as this person who does
Yep.
this. So like there's so many things that you could do. If you're dancing on TikTok, there's a commercial way of how do you position yourself to be a dancer in a commercial space. There's always classes that these guys in a commercial space, they want to go out for team building.
Yeah.
What are you doing as a creator that you could sell to the commercial space? They're always thinking famous. They're always thinking, I want to be on TV.
Yeah.
I want to do this.
They
But
want to walk the red carpet.
they want to walk the red carpet, guys.
They want free
Yo.
clothes and free
Yo.
makeup and
Yo.
free hotel stays.
Yo.
Ay, Luna, ke
Guys.
tlo le shapa. Wait, ke tlo le shapa. Ke tlo le shapa. Because all they're thinking about is just like the free stuff.
Exactly.
And it goes back to that thing where, why are you doing the content?
Exactly.
If you're doing it for the bag, I told you the quickest way, tlhobol, o tla bona, o tla ba right.
You go higher.
But if you're doing it for your passion, there's lots of different ways. Now, re bolela thata and the timer is timing. I'm gonna go to one last question before we
Yeah.
do the quick fire.
Ooh,
How do you So now, because how do creators find a balance in terms of working hard and managing fatigue? Because we find, a lot of creators / influencers struggling with mental health because they're tired, but they're scared to stop because they're scared of being irrelevant or being scared of being forgotten. How can they navigate that, to avoid fatigue, like the mental health stuff?
I love it. Well, the first one, please reach out to me. If you feel, please, my DMs are always open. I think it's always one thing that I always do, right? A lot of creators on the side that we never talk about in public. I'll forever fetch you. If you're gonna say, Rose, right now, you're telling me I'm quitting doing podcasting, I'll come to you. And even if I don't know you, sometimes I get a backlash, but it always works out for me that whenever a creator is down, I'd probably know. Like you're actually down and you need someone to talk to. You need someone. So creators, they have fake friends, number one. Nah? They don't have people to talk to. They always have people to flourish with, but never someone to cry with. So I feel like creators need to understand that you are going to have a mental breakdown at some point. You are going to have a little bit of a problem, right? In that space that you need someone to talk to or you need someone just to listen to you. So I think for me, I always leave that door open for creators. If not, one of my team members is always available to help and see where we can go. If I need to reach out to you to say, hey, there's this creator, I can't help right now, but can you? It's always that creators have fake friends for me and they never have the opportunity to speak to one another. And I think we need to start being open about those things. It's a little things as a rate card. They won't tell you how much I charge that brand. I feel like those are the little things that you should be able to say.
Those are the things we can collaborate on, honestly. Like it's just knowledge though. And knowledge sharing is power.
Exactly.
Because we're not all going to... Knowledge sharing is power. We're not all going to get there really bang.
Exactly.
This pie is so big and I feel like there's enough room and I spoke about it before that there's so much room because just like you're saying, you'll phone me, you'll be like, hey, listen, this one is not my strong point. Can you handle it? Linda, vice versa. I'm not gonna now force myself to be a videographer. I don't know any of those things. That's why when you asked, that time when we spoke about the drone, I was like, you know what, I'm kidding myself. I'm taking a chance. I'm a chance taker. Because I was like, in my mind, I was like, imagining myself holding that, I was like, you know what?
That's new ones now. That's new ones where you can just...
of course. This guy that dances with the camera, with the camera, I can't even begin. So, but I think that's such an important thing. Into we willing haholo ebo hlokwa ke hore collaboration, and not just collaboration work-wise, but collaboration even feelings-wise. Like, let's share each other's knowledge, let's help each other out, let's collaborate on each other's campaigns, let's comment on each other's content, re-liking, re-sharing, it won't cost us anything for another person to grow. If anything, when that person grows, Lina, I grow.
Exactly.
Yo, Batong, thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Before we close, can I quick fire?
All right.
Can I quick fire? Gabona, the timer is timing. So, here goes the quick fire. What is the weirdest DM you've ever received?
Weirdest DM? Oh, they asked me if I shoot nudes. And I was like... That was weird. That was weird. Yeah.
You see, people are wanting to trend now. Yeah. That's so hectic. Okay, so if you could only create for one platform, which platform would it be? YouTube.
Marado time. First and foremost, YouTube. There's money. I don't need to pretend. Sometimes content flourishes on its own. It's content that's going to forever last for a while. Sometimes you get a video that you shot in 2018. I think we had one now. There's a couple that broke up. They're married, right? They're married. Now, that video was on her and something. Now it's on 200,000 subscribers.
I saw it trending, that video.
Views. Yeah, exactly. So you look at those things. Sometimes the content that you create on YouTube will forever materialize. On other platforms, you're done. You trend once, you're done. Never going back to that. And no one is paying for that.
Imagine. Now at least LA, it can circle back.
Listen,
the check
money is coming back.
Like,
oh, go on, Jay. That's why money is more this month.
I'll take it.
Exactly.
Okay. What is your guilty pleasure when you're not creating content?
Yo, guys, I think...
Other than flying a drone and
my new guilty pleasure is riding a motorbike, hey?
Is it?
It's very dangerous. I have fallen, I think, 2 times already.
Yeah.
And it's nice.
Guys, let's go.
That's what everyone keeps on saying.
God be with you.
But
because
when we are there,
yeah.
That's my new guilty pleasure.
Okay.
Right there.
That sounds fun though. Okay. What is the one brand that you would love to work with?
Ooh. Okay. This one I need to think. I think Nike.
Okay.
Right. I've been a fan of Nike. I've got tons of sneakers.
Yeah.
Right. I'm low key sneakerhead as well.
Yeah,
Coming
yeah.
up. You know. So I think it became clear that I can't wear any other sneaker.
Yeah.
So even if I would get a campaign with Adidas, Askis Adidas, I'd love to work with you.
Yeah.
But
Little phone nonetheless.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Come through. We'll
Everybody
talk
can
with the
come.
clothes. But
Yeah.
shoes, I don't want to tell you guys like it's Nike all the way.
Yeah.
I've tried other shoes, but then that's one brand that I would really love to work with as well.
I love that.
Yeah.
Last one. If your content style had a theme song, what would it be and why?
Woo! That's tough. Yo,
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna be very. I think Tasha Cobbs. I'm getting ready. Man.
Oh.
I'm getting ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I'm getting ready to see something I've never seen
That
before.
I've never seen before.
Yeah. So I think it's something like that because it keeps on. Whenever you think you are reaching your peak of content creation, it always it's gearing up.
It's gearing up.
And I feel
for
like
the
I'm
next
getting ready for something bigger.
level. Yeah.
So I'm trying to go international.
Yeah.
So most of my content, I'm like, hey, there's a South African market of which everyone's chasing for.
Yeah.
I'm chasing the international market.
global communities
I'm
where we are
getting
going.
ready for that.
I love that.
For an
I love the
overflow.
fact that the song is saying, I'm getting ready. But you are at such a hot point.
Exactly.
You are at such a hot point. You guys can hear the time. The timer is timing. But I love the fact that, you're getting ready, but you're already here. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
I
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you.
It's
I
amazing.
appreciate your work. Thank you for putting me on because
you're the best. You're the best. I don't want to love. So if when you say influencer sister, I think that's a perfect title because you are that. Everyone needs you in their life. Like every influencer, if they could speak to you, I think they would enjoy that. Like you've got so much people that I don't know if people come back and tell you, but for me to even meet you, it was like there's this person. And I'm like, who's this Rose they keep on talking about? They have good things to say. Sometimes brand managers never go back to you and speak to you about your career as a person. So whenever people do that, it's like, yo, like even your recent client, Kwanzaa, he was like, yo, guys, like I needed Rose in my life. So it's like those little things that you are putting back to people. You that sister that we always need. Thank you for that. Thank you for being there for us. Thank you when we call you and say, yo, we need you. You're always coming to
I will
advice.
always. I still say you shot my first documentary. That was my first, and it's not the last one. We need to circle back, and we need to come back.
No, now we are Netflix ready, so please.
One understand?
Yeah, now we're ready.
Global. I can global. So thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you. We love your work. If you don't follow him, go ahead and follow at
Bongani_RSA everywhere. Or on TikTok, Bongani_official.
Yeah. YouTube.
Follow me on Defining and then also my own personal Bongani_RSA.
And when you you must subscribe.
Please.
Don't get there and just bring eyeballs. We need the subscription.
And comment.
So and comment and share and like and stuff.
Exactly.
All of that stuff makes a difference. Thank you so much again for watching.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for coming, rather. Thank you for watching. Thank you for following us and for supporting and listening. I hope you've learned a lot. If there are any questions, please comment down below. We might just have to circle back and bring him in for a part 2 to answer the questions that you need to answer. But thank you so much. With that said, we're on the way to a number of subscribers. We're just trying. We're just pushing. YouTube. So it's doing amazing on TikTok and amazing on Instagram. Thank you so much for following. We're giving away cash.
Ooh, how much?
We give.
No, I want to win. Can I win?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
You can. But you'll have to do all of these things that I say.
What do I have to
Follow
do?
us on all the platforms. Subscribe on YouTube, on TikTok, and on Instagram. You must tag 5 friends. Tell them to follow and subscribe on all of the platforms, and you can stand a chance to win 1,000 Rand cash.
I'm coming for you.
So, Kyakupa, please don't waste any time. Do the right thing. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Creator Conversations.